Hello, everyone. TJ and Francis Jackson
Hi,
here.
guys.
Family Rules Live Q&A number 2 for us, right?
Number 2, yeah.
Okay, number 2. So we were going back and forth whether we should even postpone this one in light of everything that's going on, at least here in the States with the George Floyd incident. It's been on our mind heavy, and we didn't know whether we should continue or not.
Very difficult.
But we decided to go ahead and continue and just, I guess share a little message of positivity for everyone who's watching. Please, please, please have empathy and sympathy towards not only George Floyd's family, but of all people. I think the one way we as a human race can proceed forward is if we're respectful and try to understand each other and what each other are going through. Saying that, we're going to get straight to this Q&A because I know that's what you guys are here for. I'm going to be doing a podcast, actually. So by the time you may be rewatching this, the podcast may be out. And then we are also doing a podcast. So look down in the description, not now because it's not there yet, but at some point soon, there will be a description for a Family Rules podcast where we're going to talk about a lot of things on our mind in relation to family. Without anything else I needed to say, Fred, before we get into these cues? No?
No, honey.
Okay. We're wishing everyone love and, of course, be safe. Let's get to some of these questions. Okay. When Francis is there, TJ doesn't go late. We'll start with that. Am I that late all the time?
All the time. You guys, I was like, honey, it's 12:55. And he's like, okay. But he's here now. So
I'm here now.
That's what matters.
That's what matters. But yes, I don't know. I think it's part of being a perfectionist, and it's something that I'm trying to get better at.
Not healthy.
I want to make sure everything is done right.
But believe me, you guys, I'm pressuring him for.
She's on me. So you're right. Okay. Lachey wants to know, have we ever considered writing a book together to help couples and single people improve their relationships? We haven't really discussed a book together.
No, but you have, as far as like writing a book.
Yeah.
That's always been an interest for you.
Yeah, I think I've been working on a book for about 3 years now. But it was more from the fatherhood angle, from a father's perspective. But I did start and eventually finish a book on parenting because it's, to me, the most important job a parent has is being a parent. So I just wanted to make sure I took my time with it. So really, I wanted to take 5 to 7 years to write it, to make sure everything I'm saying has some strength to it and makes complete sense. And I'm saying things the best way I can to connect with people. But, we are doing this YouTube channel, and we are going to be doing a podcast. And exactly what you said about relationships and family life is what our aim is to try to provide some type of some support and give some advice and just speak openly on what's worked for us, what hasn't worked.
Just through our experiences as well.
Yeah, I mean, none of us have degrees in this stuff, but we've experienced a lot in raising kids and in family. And we've seen a lot and we've discussed a lot, and I think it would be cool to share it with you all. Don't you agree?
Amen.
All right. So there you go. Okay, let's see. Momo wants to know, do we speak with our older children about racism?
Absolutely.
Yes. Do you want to talk about your conversation?
Well, before I even met TJ, I had Sage and Lexi, and that was, I feel like I started that very young because they need to be aware that, it's not going to be the same for them. It's unfortunate, but it's just how it is. And I'm going to be honest.
Why isn't it the same for them? We got to break it down.
Well, it's not the same for them strictly because of their skin color.
Okay.
I mean, it's sad, but it's the truth. And I've always told the kids, you have to walk a straighter line than, let's say, someone who is not a brown person. So I've always been honest with them and open about that. And to be honest, Lexi called me this morning pretty distraught about the whole situation.
The George Floyd.
Yeah, the George Floyd. She's not understanding it completely. And she's a huge advocate just for, just spreading love in general.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I even talk about this. And you know what? My family talked about it to me since I was 2, 3 years old. I've always heard it. And I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. So I didn't really understand what I was being told because I didn't really see it. Because as a kid, you just see other kids, all different nationalities, and you just have fun. But when you get older, things start to look a little different, and you experience things. And I plan on doing the same thing, which I've been doing with all my kids,
We have
and
with
even
all
my
of them.
cousins. I try to explain to them, to make sure they understand that although behind gates and in certain areas things may be pretty nice, that's not how it is around the world. And I think that's very important. And I don't think it's just important for me as a black man, but for everyone around the world to explain that there's other people that may be experiencing other types of prejudices and biases. And I think that's very important. It's a huge important thing that a parent can teach their child. Again, it's not just race, it's all different types of things. It could be gender even. So
Mhm.
I just think empathy and sympathy and trying to understand your fellow human is a very important trait. And that's a trait that we as parents have to teach our kids. But thanks for that question. It's a
That's a
great
great
one.
question.
Yeah. Do you teach, Michael Jackson fan wants to know, do you teach your kids on how to help the community? We do. We do.
Matter of fact, Joe is upstairs right now cleaning out her books so she can donate them. So they're very aware of that.
Very important for us.
Yeah.
And even with the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation, the foundation my brothers and I have, all our kids and even my brother's kids, we've all tried to help in some way. And I think that's an important thing to teach our kids. It was taught to us by my father and mother and my uncle. And it's something that I think is very important. Again, not everyone may be in the same situation we have been in. And not just as a Jackson, just the fact that we have internet, that we have light, that we have food. And I think it's important that we continue to give back in some way.
Absolutely.
Another very important trait that we both believe in, that we should be teaching our kids. Okay, let's go right here. I don't know what this says. It's a long thing, but I'm sure it's a great question. Hello, TJ and beautiful Francis.
Aw, sweet.
Are you guys planning for another child? Because you have great genes. Might as well bring more beautiful people in the world. That's very sweet, Hayes.
That's very sweet.
But
absolutely not. No.
Well, we're not.
We've talked about fostering children or adopting. We love kids. It's just in us.
TJ, call security. TJ.
Sorry, guys. So as far as us having a child together, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah,
that ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed. Without going into further detail, that ship has sailed. But like she said just a minute ago, we've always wanted to adopt. It was something that was on our plan in our first several years together. And I think eventually it may be back on the plan. I mean, to be honest, we got to 9 pretty quickly. And we weren't expecting to get to 9 the way we did. But truthfully, we're a little tired, and we look forward to more time together and traveling and just spending more time together, not in just the parenting role, but as friends. So I don't know when that will happen. It may take some time, but I do feel it will happen, maybe at some point. And if not, we look
forward to grandkids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Older grandkids, we say, because we have some grandkids. Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking at some of these comments. They're great. Lucci says, Francis, you have done great. 6 kids.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's not always easy, but I've learned a lot. They've taught me a lot.
Manuela wants to know, which country would you like to visit together after quarantine? There are so many. So there are so many that I've been to that I'm excited to get back to. Most of them are in Europe. But
what's one that we've?
One that I haven't been to. I'm really eager and looking forward to get to some of these South American countries. Argentina, Peru, Brazil, Colombia. I've only been to Brazil, and I know there's a whole world down there in South America that I think I would really enjoy being at, and taking my family there and them seeing a different side. And, as you know, we're both have Latin in us. So it's really cool to see other Latin people in the world and seeing how they're living. And I think that's something that's important. So I think at one point we'll do that.
I want to take the kids to the Dominican Republic as well.
Yes.
Because, that's part of their heritage.
Yes. For those who don't know, I'm at least a quarter Dominican, possibly half. We didn't know my grandfather on my mother's side. But we're thinking he was Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
So, okay, I should be doing this better, but this is a great question. Elaine wants to know, what would you advise to kids who have to deal with cyberbullies on a regular basis?
That's sad.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And, the one thing I try to kind of instill in the kids that they have to be the bigger person, as crazy as that sounds.
We really do.
We try to let them know the fault of the bully and what's the issue with the bully and where it's coming from. So instead of kind of playing the game of battle, I try to teach them the game of the war, if that makes sense. I just think there's value in rising above what they're saying or what they're doing, and more spending time on why they are doing what they're doing. And I think if you can kind of change that narrative, it will empower your child to understand that the real issue isn't me, it's them.
It's true.
And I have to pray for them. And now I actually feel bad for them. If you can feel bad for who's bullying you, it really softens their effect and their ability to bully.
Because usually bullying comes from a place of hurt and pain on the person that is bullying. So that's what we do, try to teach our child, like, what do you feel like the other person may be going through?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nikki wants to know, hello, TJ and Francis, who is the strict parent and who is the laid back parent?
I think we kind of tag team on this.
Yeah, we definitely take turns. I think
if he's being the stricter one, then I have to be the one that's not. So it's kind of like good cop, bad cop, So if that's,
I think generally I'm more the laid back one and she's more the stricter one who keeps them on schedule until it crosses a point. Then all of a sudden I turn into something different, and I turn into a really serious bad cop, I guess. But it happened to me, and my father was the chill one until we did something that he needed to come down to. And I don't know, and I don't want to offend anyone, but I feel like there's something about, especially for young children, there's something about a male figure if he's a playful person and he gets real serious.
Oh, they take it serious.
Kids tend to lock in and really focus. And our job as parents, and something we strongly believe in, is our job is to prepare our kids for the future and to make sure they are good citizens as best as we can. It doesn't guarantee that any of our kids are going to be perfect citizens, but we do our best to make sure they know right from wrong. And that is something that's very, very important to us.
You know what's funny though, is that when I tell the kids, okay, well, do we need to talk to dad? They don't want to disappoint you. So, it's like, no, don't tell dad.
Yes. Okay. I don't know what that says. Nikki wants to know, do we plan to send any more of the kids to Buckley, or do you want to stick to bilingual school? So we are going to stick to at least bilingual school, but to be honest, we are very strongly most likely going to be homeschooling. We are in the final round of that discussion and
I'm nervous about it. I'm going to be honest.
I'm excited about it.
I'm nervous. Yeah.
And it was a tough decision and a tough thing to come to, but we are actually probably going to be doing a YouTube video. So if you're watching this at a later time, up there, I think this side,
Where? Which way?
right here, there'll be a thing you can click to watch why we chose homeschooling. So how about that?
Yeah.
No, Catherine, there's no handcuffs involved in good cop, bad cop. I love that
No,
though.
there's not. It's cute.
Lisa wants to know, in our opinion, what is the most important lesson to learn to teach the children?
For me, I honestly think spreading love. Spreading love is so important. I feel like this world needs more of it. And that's one thing that I would always tell the kids when I dropped them off to school: be kind and spread love. Yeah.
And there's so many important things: humility, gratitude, integrity, doing the right thing, and of course, like Francis said, spreading love.
There's a good one up there.
Go ahead, Franny, read this one.
Habla en español, por favor. You say it.
Habla en español, por favor.
Okay.
But that should be a V, right? Not a B. But there
maybe
we go.
they're, yeah. Maybe
but maybe there's a Latin country that uses
Exactly.
the B. So if so, let us know.
There's some good, questions at the top too, honey.
Okay.
You just scrolled all the way up.
This is a good one. Lucci wants to know, as parents, what do you think is the right age to start dating?
Well, I think in the beginning, so we'll say for our experience, we told Lexi she couldn't date until 16, right? We kind of stuck to that. But I think, if Dee Dee came to me and really liked someone at 14, then, I'm open to it. I feel like we're not as strict as we were.
Okay.
We were strict with Sage, Lexi, and Royal.
We are definitely
They always
strict.
tell us that, like, you guys have gotten soft.
And you have to be careful because dating, I think, in different cultures and different places mean different things. So that doesn't mean we are okay with our kids at 14, doing, sexual things.
But that doesn't really...
Shouldn't have said it that way. But my point is that when we say dating, we're thinking of, I have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Being able to claim it.
Talking on the phone, texting.
Yes.
Little lovebird stuff.
I think the important thing is, and I can only speak to myself as a kid. I can only really reference how I felt. I was young, pretty young when I got into that stuff. And I think it was also because I had elder brothers. But I think the thing is, kids mature at different rates and they have different emotions at different rates. And although we can try to put a number or strict deadline on when we think certain things should happen, the truth of the matter is we oftentimes can't. And the important thing is that we have to be able to provide an open space and a safe place for them to speak with us and talk with us about what they're going through. Because if they don't, they'll just find a place somewhere, whether it's their own peers or somewhere online, and that will educate them, most likely in the wrong way and most likely in an unhealthy way, but that's what's going to educate them in such an important topic. So we have chosen, and we try to keep it open and let our kids come to us and talk to us. And it's been, I have to say, I've been so loose about this with our younger kids that they're incredibly open, even with me, and don't feel any shame or anything, and just openly talk. And I think that's the most important thing, to kind of make sure that those conversations can take place. Did you find a question, my love?
Toria has one.
This one right here?
Sure, why not?
Any plans for your anniversary coming soon? Yes.
Any plans, honey?
So our anniversary is June 28th. Now I have to say, I have to make it one, and then we'll end this soon. But this is fun. But I have to say, I've been really bad with celebratory dates from the get-go. And it's not, I'm not.
Speak the truth.
I'm not like, I don't really, there's no prejudice in it. So it's even my own dates, my birth date, they don't really mean, I don't take the date as seriously as many do. And I think that's because of how I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, who don't celebrate man made holidays. So birthdays and Christmas and all that stuff, we didn't celebrate as kids. So dates don't really have that same type of emphasis for me. But I could be better. She's over there smiling because I'll tell you guys this. I Don't Deserve This was written on our anniversary date just last year.
I didn't deserve that.
Yes, but it's our favorite song, or at least one of them.
I do love it.
So, but that's the honest truth. I was coming home that night from Nashville on the 28th, which was our anniversary date. But that morning I was in Nashville writing that song with David and Ryan. And, we got a half a day celebration, really just an evening or a night. But, we try to make up when we miss dates. We try to make another date, whether it's a week later. And I think we've gotten comfortable or used to doing that because we have so many kids and there's things that happen,
Yeah. I think also because, when your uncle first passed too,
that's another one.
It was very difficult to celebrate it, because our anniversary was like 3 days later.
Well, we had a weekend, I think it was, or at least a 3-day planned at the Mission Resort and Spa Hotel, which is where we got married, that we, when my uncle passed, and we ended up coming together as a family. And, really, I think since then, we've kind of just gotten used to postponing or rescheduling important dates. So in terms of, is there anything planned? I actually had something planned. I was supposed to be in Nashville. Francis was going to come out. And we were going to, spend a nice weekend in Nashville. But now with COVID, I'm not going to be going to Nashville this June. So we'll have to think of something, but we'll do something. I don't know to what extent, but we'll do something, even if it's just chilling and watching a movie together with popcorn. I think the key is, as long as, you express your love to each other, that's what's key.
Well said, honey.
Okay, let's end with this one from Chams. Do you trust in true love in 2020? I feel like I envision this question.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like deja vu.
It's kind of deja vu. So thank you for the question, Shams. And I understand, I was thinking about this because I understand where the concern's coming. There's a lot of, I don't know, I feel it is tougher now.
A lot harder.
To not only find, but be truly in love. There's a lot of, unnecessary friction that can take place between two. But the short answer is I do.
I do too. Absolutely.
I do.
I think you may have to put in a little more work. But it definitely possible for sure.
I do. And I think for our youth, I'm hoping at one point, I can only speak for the youth I've experienced, but I'm hoping at one point the idea of marriage and unity will get stronger, and a family. I feel like that's slowly slipping away, is that strong desire to have a family, because I don't know, and I don't think it's for everyone is thinking that, but I think what's scaring me, I feel like more and more youth are thinking that way, that they don't really care about family, or things are different in our generation. I've heard that, and that kind of concerns me. But I think it's just time before they mature and realize the benefits of love and relationship and support. So I'm never going to tell someone to force a relationship or force love, but I would like to strongly advise you to stay open to it if you're young. Even if you don't necessarily believe in it, stay open to the idea. And perfect example is myself. I used to tell anyone who would listen, I'd never get married. I never wanted to be.
He was adamant too.
I was very adamant. So adamant that I told all my friends at school, they used to try to get me to drink alcohol at parties and stuff, and I wouldn't. And I told them the day I get married is the day I'll drink, thinking it would be never. And sure enough, on my wedding day, they called me out on that little wager, and I had my first drink on my wedding day. So.
And you were how old? Do you remember?
Oh, well,
28, 29?
I think it was 30.
Were you?
I was about to be 30.
I was 32, so I think you were 29.
Okay, well, she would remember.
We'll have to fact check that one.
Yes.
I kind of.
Which one?
This question here.
You want to do one more?
Yeah,
okay.
one more.
This one
question.
right here from Angelique?
Yeah.
Okay. Angelique wants to know,
Hi, Angelique.
how do you feel about parents pressuring their kids into fulfilling dreams or visions they had for themselves when they were kids?
I think that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, and
for sure.
it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Um, well, is this basically asking if a parent pushing their own dreams on their kids?
I believe that's what she's saying.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing, and I'll be honest. And here's the thing: as a parent, you just want your child to be happy. I don't think there's ill intent anytime.
Exactly.
You know, Royal used to play baseball, and he was really good at it. And of course, I love baseball. I grew up playing baseball, but he started to not like it, and it was hard for me because I saw how good he was, and I felt maybe he just had a bad experience, or maybe he'll grow to like it. And I do think sometimes that can happen, which is why, I think towards the end it was like, just do one more year, and then
and he kept saying that, do one more year,
until it was basically 12. And another thing, I just wanted to be able to throw a ball with my son and talk the game with them.
But we did have to talk about that. We did have to say, look, he just doesn't like it anymore. We're going to have to come to a compromise, finish out the season.
Yeah. And sure enough, once he hit 12 and he finished the season, I never talked to him about it. I've never asked him to play. I've never done that. And I think that's important. As a parent, sometimes you do know what's best. And I think it's okay to every now and then nudge a child into a direction. But I do think there has to be an agreed upon age, or at least a natural age where you have to let go and let the child be the child. And saying that whole time, Royal was saying how much he loved soccer. It was all about soccer. And I supported him completely with soccer, to the point where he played soccer way more than he played baseball throughout his life. He played club soccer, travel soccer. He only played like rec baseball. So I don't want, I got to clarify that. I don't want people to think I didn't let him pursue his goals. I just wanted to make sure he was being active and had a possibility of returning to a game I thought he had a lot of potential in.
Right.
But with all that said, it's a very dangerous thing. And my kind of approach is kind of matured into, you just got to let the child be the child.
Yeah. Find out what they love, and then make sure that they're putting time and energy into that.
But another thing, children are slick, because they could be slick.
They're smart. That's for sure.
Because sometimes they don't want to do anything. And they may say, I don't like this sport. I don't like this. I don't like that. And as a parent, you're going back and forth trying to find something. And your whole intention is, at least at first, keep them busy and active. And the child doesn't like anything. So truthfully, we have a rule. All of our kids have to play some type of sport. They could pick the sport. It could be an individual. It could be a team sport. But they got to do something that is going to keep them active. We believe in that. And the same thing with an instrument. We try to make sure all our kids are at least at one point learning an instrument. Again, for anyone who's followed me a while, I didn't even want my kids to be musicians, and I don't know if any of my kids will be. I just think there's value in learning an instrument, and the discipline you can learn, and the little struggles you can overcome from learning an instrument is incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Francis is trying to keep this going, but we're going to close it out.
We are, guys.
We are going to close this out, but
we've decided to maybe try to do it twice a week. So we'll see.
Okay. So this is a good thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a Q&A once a week, and we're going to do a regular YouTube video on a topic. And we are going to do 2 videos a week. That's the plan. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. The second video we're going to do on the family rules is going to be exclusive to YouTube. So again, you got to go onto our YouTube channel, click the subscribe button. And I should say this, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a comment, like it, and share it, right?
Yeah. And if you have questions, we can read them and then maybe discuss that on one of the topics.
There you go. Thank you guys. Much love.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Adios.
Love you all.